Big 12 team had the #1 pass defense in America? Can you believe? How's that possible? Which Big 12 team had a top 5 total defense? West by God, Virginia. God's country. Country road, take me home. Will your ways, I will. I can't believe a Big 12 team had the #1 pass defense in America, but they did. It was West Virginia. In today's video, we're going to look at the 2021 version of West Virginia, and I'm going to give you a game-by-game prediction. Let's go. Yeah, good morning in that, though, but it's Uncle Lou here, though. Yeah, that's right. It's me, Uncle Lou. And I'm live for you on LouTube today. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it also, and in addition to that as well. Hey, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. Did you know I post college football videos almost every single day of the year? It's true. Some of them are even watchable. I don't know about this one. That determination will be left up to you, the viewer. You can let me know in the comment section down below at the end of this video if it was watchable or not. Also, at the end, when I give the overall record for West Virginia, and you think I'm wrong, let me know about it in the comment section down below and tell me which games it is you think West Virginia is going to win or lose. All right, here we go. Head coach Neal Brown returns for his 3rd year in Morgantown. 6-4 last year, 4-4 in the Big 12 in a weird pandemic type of year. The record is not what's surprising about West Virginia. It's the defense. I don't think there's a soul alive who at this time last year, if you would have said, name the team that's going to have the #1 pass defense, not only do I not think anyone would have said Oklahoma, I don't think anyone would have guessed any Big 12 team at all. West Virginia. But West Virginia did have the #1 pass defense in America last year and was top 5 in total defense. Now, their offense really is what held them back last year. This year could be kind of the opposite. They get almost everybody back offensively, and I expect West Virginia to field a better offense in 21 than they did in 20, and they lost a ton of talent off of that 2020 defense, including a coach. So it could be that this year the offense is what has to carry West Virginia. Let's take a look at that offense. They have their quarterback returning. Kind of. And I don't know how to say this guy's name, Doege, again for the millionth time. I don't name these people. So it's not my job to go around pronouncing their names right. It's just my job to do the best I can to pronounce them wrong. Dougie, can he show you how to Dougie? I don't know, but that's how you spell it, Doege. He started all 10 games last year, but he was benched at halftime of the bowl game, the Liberty Bowl, against none other than the Army Black Knights. Austin Kendall came in and led West Virginia to a win in that bowl game. So there was some thought that there would be somewhat of a quarterback controversy this year in Morgantown. However, Austin Kendall transferred out. I believe he went to Louisiana Tech. So that ended that. Dougie is the guy again this year. He's good at times. He's got to be more consistent. He has to play up to his potential more often than he did last year. We'll see if he can do it. Who's there to help him out? Well, you got a bunch of running backs returning, led by Letty Brown, over 1,000 yards last year in a 10-game season. That's pretty impressive. You get a couple other guys back, too, that played some last year, and 2 key freshmen from the 21 class could see some playing time this year as well. West Virginia's running game could be what carries it offensively this year. You have some weapons at wide receiver, though. Sam James comes back. Bryce Ford Wheaton comes back. Wright Jr. comes back. You also have 4 other wide receivers on the roster who all have starting experience. That's a total of 7 wide receivers who have started games that return. Some of them have played really well. Some of them underperformed last year but could look to bounce back this year. I like West Virginia's receiving core heading into the season. Offensive line, a ton of experience, helped a lot by 2 incoming transfers with a lot of starts at their previous schools. So you do lose some starters from last year off the offensive line, but bringing in those 2 transfers, you really have 4 returning starters, even though all 4 didn't start for West Virginia last year. So the offensive line should be better in 2021 than what it was in 2020. So really all position groups, in my opinion, on the offense should and could play better in 2021. Like I mentioned, over on the defensive side of the ball, it's kind of a different story. You lose a coach to UGA. Not only that, you lose either your best or second best player to UGA, safety Tyke Smith. He was an All-American. I don't know why he transferred out. It's very strange to me why he transferred out. But anyway, he did. He transferred out. Now, your defensive front, I think, can be a strength again this year in 2021. Davis Stills, the nose tackle, he's gone. That is a big loss. He was a big part of your defense last year. But his younger brother, Dante, is still there. He had 10.5 tackles for loss last year from the defensive tackle position. He'll probably improve on that this year. He's a good one along the defensive front. A Pooler returns, a freshman All-American you had on the defensive line last year. What was this guy's name? Messador, whatever the hell his name is. Again, I don't name these people. So you got a lot of returning talent along the defensive front, even though you lose Darius Stills at nose tackle. Your linebackers, now you had that, what was the middle linebacker's name? I forgot to write it down. I think it was Fields. He had an amazing year last year. He's gone. So that leaves a gaping hole in the middle of the defense for West Virginia. You're going to have to find a replacement for him. After doing some reading around this morning, it looks like they're taking 1 or 2 of the outside linebackers and trying them at middle linebacker during fall camp. It's sort of a mix and match thing to try to find the best possible combination of linebackers to put out on the field. Defensive backs, I mentioned losing Tyke Smith. You have 2 other safeties with a lot of starts and playing time that return. So secondary could be good again. Probably not going to be the best in America again, but could be really, really good. Let's put West Virginia's schedule up on the screen for 2021 and find out what their record going to be is. All right, Big 12 versus Big 10 to kick things off here for West Virginia as they travel to Maryland to take on the Terrapins and Pineapple Jr., to his brother, starting quarterback up there. Unfortunately for West Virginia, I think Maryland is going to be an improved team in 2021, and I'd still have some questions about West Virginia's off. My issue with picking West Virginia in this game is I was not impressed with what I saw from the offense last year, and it's almost all coming back. Now, I agree that that's good news, and potentially that means the offense could be much better. I need to see it for 1 week before I can completely buy in. I don't really like the quarterback situation at West Virginia, I'll just be honest. I think you're going to have to rely a lot on the run game, especially early in the season, week 1 here. And defensively, you lost so much off of a great defense. It's hard to imagine that defense being that good. It's on the road. It's the first game of the season. For those reasons, I have picked Maryland to win this game, and I've got West Virginia starting 0-1. Then you play Long Island University. That's a win. Then Virginia Tech from the ACC. So you got 2 here, non-con Power 5 matchups, Maryland and Virginia Tech. I think you split those 2 games. I think you beat Virginia Tech and lose to Maryland. You're 2-1 after your non-con schedule, and then you play your slate of 9 Big 12 games, starting out on the road at Oklahoma. I have Oklahoma number 1 in my most recent preseason poll that I did. I'm just a big buyer of Oklahoma this year. Unlike West Virginia, they get most of their defense back. And while their defense was not as good as West Virginia's last year, it was the best Oklahoma defense we've seen in a long time. They also have Heisman frontrunner Spencer Rattler at QB, a ton of NFL wide receivers, and an NFL offensive line. They do have some question marks at the running back position after some recent arrests there, which are not good. I don't think you've beat Oklahoma a single time since joining the Big 12. You have to travel there to play. I'm picking Oklahoma to win that game. You're 2-2. Then you got Texas Tech at home. I think that'll be a win. I do believe West Virginia has a pretty good home field advantage, particularly within the Big 12, where literally everyone has to travel a long way to get there. Everyone says, they complain really that West Virginia doesn't fit geographically with the Big 12. While I agree with that, I don't really care anymore when it comes to conferences where schools are. I mean, kids are taking planes to games, not buses anymore. But it is a long way to go. Texas Tech, I don't think is a very good team. I think West Virginia gets to win at home over the Red Raiders. You got to go on the road the following week. You make a long trip to Texas to take on Baylor. I think you beat Baylor. Baylor, I think, could be a pretty good team in 2021. Not that I think they have a chance to win the Big 12 or anything like that, but I think they could be a pretty good team this year. I think West Virginia is a little bit better, especially by this point in the season. I expect West Virginia's offense to be much better than it is week 1 on the road at Maryland. I think you get the win at Baylor. Takes you to your bye week. Pretty good time for a bye week right in the middle of the season, right after your 6th game there. You come out of your bye week, you got to go on the road and play TCU. To me, this was the toughest game to pick on this entire schedule because I think TCU might be better than West Virginia this year, and you have to play them there. That's not good. However, you get an extra week to prepare for them. Bye weeks are important. Teams usually win, or at least should win, coming out of a bye week against most teams. I went back and forth on this, but I've got TCU winning this game. You toed another L. Then you get Iowa State at home. This could be a big game. If I'm wrong and West Virginia is a little bit better than I think, and you've beaten particularly TCU, and you only have the one loss in the Big 12 to Oklahoma, then this Iowa State game could be a huge one. It could be for, at that particular point in the season, 2nd place in the Big 10. I'm a believer in Iowa State, though. Even though they have to come and play in Morgantown, I think Iowa State gets to win. Matt Campbell returns. A lot of talent on that team. He's a great coach. They came up a little bit short last year. They're ranked in the top 10 of every preseason poll. Don't know if they'll still be top 10 by this point in the season. This is pretty late, but I do think they're a really good team, and I think they beat West Virginia. Then you get Oklahoma State at home. I believe you'll beat Oklahoma State. They lost some talent off of last year's team. I'm not really a buyer of the Cowboys for this year. On the road at Kansas State, win, again, a team I'm not really a buyer in. Unless you're Oklahoma, you have no reason to be afraid to play Kansas State. Then you play Texas. I think you beat Texas. They have to come and play there. First-year coaching staff there with Sarkisian. A new quarterback, Sam Ehlinger, quarterback there since 1922. He finally leaves to do whatever it is he's doing. So they have to break in a new quarterback, brand new coaching staff, and I just don't think they're going to have a great year this year. This will be give-up time at this point in the season for Texas. I think West Virginia gets to win at home over the Shorthorn. And then your last game of the year against one of the worst teams in America, Kansas, even though it's on the road, doesn't matter. You could play them on the roof of a Dollar Tree. You'd still beat the absolute bejesus out of them. So there you go. I've got West Virginia going 8-4 in 2021. I'm sure the West Virginia fan is not happy with this prediction. You could win the Maryland game. That would make you 9-3. You could lose the Virginia Tech game. That puts you back at 8-4. I don't think you're beating Oklahoma. You could beat TCU. That would move you to 9-3. I could see you going 9-3. I think that's probably the ceiling for West Virginia this year is 9-3. 8-4, though, I think is the most likely record. And honestly, if you were to go 7-5, I think that would be a disappointment. But I've got you in 8-4. All right, I appreciate you guys watching this video. Have a good morning.